So, you've heard that some companies and limited liability partnerships are required to prepare an energy and carbon report. So, who are required to report? What does it consist of? And how can you complete your report? This episode has all those answers and a 5-step process to make your reporting easier and faster. Let's take a look. Welcome to EMSmastery, where we give you the strategies and tactics to master environmental management and sustainability. If we're meeting for the first time, my name is Andrew Marlowe. This episode will look at the regulatory requirements supporting streamlined energy and carbon reporting, SECR, as a mandatory requirement for certain organisations within the United Kingdom. And I'll outline 5 simple steps for the completion of your energy and carbon reporting. First, what is the legislation that requires the reporting of energy usage and carbon emissions? The energy and carbon reporting is required under the Companies Act 2006 through 2 regulations. The first, the Companies Act 2006 Strategic Report and Directors Report Regulations 2013, applied the reporting to quoted companies, and a second regulation expanded these requirements to include large unquoted companies and large limited liability partnerships. These organisations will be required to prepare an energy and carbon report within their directors or partners report and to submit them as part of their reported accounts to Companies House. This new mandatory energy and carbon reporting applies to quoted companies, large limited liability partnerships and large unquoted companies. Quoted companies have already been required to report aspects of their energy consumption and carbon emissions in years prior to 2019. However, for large limited liability partnerships and large unquoted companies, this will be their first exposure to this new reporting requirement. It is important to understand what is meant by large for unquoted companies and limited liability partnerships. The qualifying conditions are met by a company or LLP in a year in which it satisfies 2 or more of the following requirements: that its turnover is £36 million or more, that its balance sheet totals 18 million or more, and if it has employees totaling 250 or more. It is anticipated that approximately 12,000 organisations will be affected by this legislation. So, what must be reported? Well, the energy and carbon reporting can be broken down into 6 key areas. Energy use from electricity, fuel and transport, which is a global requirement for quoted companies, and for large LLPs and large unquoted companies is limited to the UK only. Scope 1 and 2 emissions are covered. These relate to Scope 1 emissions, which are direct emissions from controlled or owned sources, such as the combustion of fuel and the operation of boilers at a site or facility. And Scope 2, which is indirect energy emissions from the generation of purchased energy. Scope 3 remains voluntary, which relates to emissions from your supply chain. Previous year's emissions in CO2 equivalents and energy consumption in kilowatt hours are the reported parameters. An intensity ratio or metric must be reported linked to your activity of your organisation, such as turnover in hundreds of thousands of pounds turnover or units of production. A narrative on energy efficiency, which can include policies, energy saving activities and current and future projects. The methodology used to calculate the carbon emissions must be recognised as an independent standard, such as Greenhouse Gas Reporting Protocol, ISO 14064 Part 1 2018, the Climate Disclosure Standards Board, or the Global Reporting Initiative. To help you with completing your energy and carbon reporting, I have outlined 5 simple steps for the completion of your energy and carbon reporting. The first step is to review your streamlined energy and carbon reporting requirements and the scope for your organisation by obtaining the regulations and guidance and undertaking a review of your company structure for any companies which may meet the criteria of being large companies or large LLPs. From there, you can scope out the reporting requirements, including whether or not you want to voluntarily report Scope 3 emissions related to your supply chain. The second step is to undertake a gap analysis by reviewing your current energy and carbon reporting and comparing it against the streamlined energy and carbon reporting requirements. That way, you can identify any gaps, including any relating to data held, about the intensity ratio or methodology, and prepare an action plan to address any gaps. The third step is to take the scope and action plan and apply it to your data management. This will have several sub-steps to identify current data and the owners of the data, and to project manage the data management, including internal reporting deadlines and milestones. In this step, you will need to collect energy efficiency information and information for your intensity ratio and to identify and follow agreed methodologies. Within the overall data management, it's important to verify the data to ensure that it is correct and accurate. Step 4 is the application of your agreed methodology using relevant UK or international conversion factors to allow for the completion of your calculations for energy consumption and carbon emissions. It is important to ensure that you have secure storage for all the data and calculations in case you need to return to them at a later stage. Finally, if previous year's data is available, undertake trend analysis, as this will need to be reported for the second year and onwards under the regulatory requirement. Finally, step 5 is to undertake a sanity check to ensure that your prepared submission meets all the applicable streamlined energy and carbon reporting requirements by verifying all your calculations to ensure that they are correct and accurate. As the energy and carbon report will be included in your accounts reported to Companies House, you should ensure that the board or key directors or partners sign off on the submission and to ensure that the energy and carbon reporting is incorporated within your accounts submission. So, with the 5-step approach that I've just outlined, it will help you be able to navigate through your streamlined energy and carbon reporting. If you need more information, the UK Government has published environmental reporting guidance covering not only the streamlined energy and carbon reporting, but also voluntary environmental reporting to support all organisations. If you want more direct support and help in developing, preparing and submitting your streamlined energy and carbon reporting, our environmental and sustainability consultancy, One Planet Solutions, has been tracking the development of these regulatory requirements and has already guided and supported 4 companies through our 5-step process. If you need this direct guidance and assistance, please contact us for our streamlined energy and carbon reporting services, which are delivered with independence, integrity and confidentiality. We have even publicly published our own carbon emissions, which you can access in our articles on the EMSmastery.com website. This information and everything in this episode is given in the description box below. I hope that this episode has given you an insight into the streamlined energy and carbon reporting, including our 5-step process to the completion of your report. Any questions on this episode, please leave in the comments box below. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel to ensure that you don't miss out on other episodes on environmental management and sustainability. Until then, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, you can watch other episodes by clicking in the boxes in the top and bottom right, and to subscribe to this channel, click on the link to the left. Thank you.